And for me, it was like more, I just want to play football. That is the part that you have to deal with.
I got death threats in my parents' house. Was getting spray painted in.
Because who was there? That's Verratti and
All the guys, Thiago Silva, Marquinhos, Mbappé, Neymar.
What was that like walking in the first day?
And he actually went to jail. And I was a young boy, supported Everton, so I used to write to him in jail. And then he'd write back.
Yeah. What were the letters saying? What were you?
It was just me saying telling him how much I love him, basically.
Well, we are all back together again. And before we go any further, Cam, I'm going to let you set the scene because you're pretty excited about where we are.
honestly, I was saying if they offer all-inclusive packages, I'd sign up for it because this place is amazing. It's like it's like an airport lounge, like a really expensive airport lounge. This bit looks like the Big Brother house, but out there is just incredible. Like I'd sign for Spurs if they're.
So you've only on them expensive lounges, yeah?
I've been there once or twice. I'm sure you're no strangers here as well.
Well, you did mention it then. We are at Tottenham Hotspur's training ground and we're joined by a very special guest. Xavi Simons, thank you for being on the Wayne Rooney show with us. Welcome along. How's it been settling into life in England so far?
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here for sure for me. And yeah, at the end, coming to a new country, new club, new seat, new environment, it's special. But at the same time, you have to adapt really fast because the games are coming fast. And try to enjoy these little moments, I would say.
Are you enjoying the training ground as much as Kay is? Is it as nice the other bits as well?
Yeah, I told them before already. I didn't see even the half of the training ground yet, and that's how big the training ground is. And yeah, it's really special to come here every day and enjoy it to be here at the end, seeing all this stuff and to try to do your best here.
Well, I think the bill for the gardener must be so expensive.
Yeah, I think so.
The landscape and the flowers and everything. It's incredible. We used to come here with England. I think you've been with England.
I've been, but I went to the wrong bit because we're never allowed in this posh bit. Yeah. We're kind of in the media bit over there. You've been in this bit, I'm guessing.
No, I haven't.
Even you're not allowed in this bit.
No, because we just go to the training ground over there, I think. It was, yeah. I think we were the other side as well, yeah.
It's a nice training ground though, isn't it? Did you always think that when you came here?
Yeah, this is the best because we trained here, we trained at Arsenal as well, and this was by far the best one.
It's nice, isn't it?
It makes up for the bad weather, doesn't it?
That's true.
It's a bad weather day today, isn't it? It's not looking its finest out there, but the training ground looking great. We're fascinated by your journey, Xavi, because we were talking just before we started recording. We were asking you where you call home because you've lived and played in so many different countries, haven't you?
Yeah, at the end, I'm lucky to be 22 and to live, already a lot of things that maybe other players never experienced that. I was born in Holland, but when I was 3 years old, my mom decided to go to Spain. And then from Spain, when I was 6 years old, Barcelona scouted me. And then from there on until 16, I was in Barcelona, then 3 years in Paris, 1 year back to my country, that was in Eindhoven, then 2 years in Leipzig, and now here. But I would say, like in every place, I took a little bit something, but at the end, the years where I grew up more and I've been there more was Barcelona. My family's still living there, so I would say, the connection with Barcelona, Holland, that's the two parts.
You said you took something from every place you were. What have you taken from? What are the main things you've taken from each country?
I think from everything in general to adapt to the culture of the country. I'm someone, I'm going to a new environment. I know to adapt as quick as possible. I need to adapt to the people that are there. So I need to try to understand them and try to understand the situation I'm going into. So I would say that in the end is the most important thing. And obviously speaking the language is one of the main priorities, I would say.
How many languages do you speak? Sorry, Wayne.
I speak 5 languages. And most of them I've learned in school, like English, Spanish, I learned in school. Then I went to French, and I learned listening and talking with my teammates, not going to school, but just being every day with them and speaking, even knowing that I was not speaking that good at the start. And they tried to help me a little bit, like, okay, no, this word is like this word like this. And at the end, nowadays, I speak French fluently. So
What was it like for you being at Barcelona at that time? Because you were literally surrounded by superstars, watching superstars everywhere you went.
yeah, for me that was my dream. Like my name is Xavi because of Xavi Hernandez. My mom, she put the name because of him, and being there for me was the dream, and being there, living and seeing all these players, Messi, Iniesta, Xavi Hernandez, and seeing them every day. I saw them a lot of times in the training ground, and that was like a big inspiration for me as well to see these kind of players was such incredible.
Did anybody sort of take you under their wing and give you advice, or?
In the start, no, because I was really young. But after when I started growing up and I was getting close to the first team, Neymar was there,
Okay.
and I did a commercial. I remember when I was 12 years old with him, and at that time, Neymar for me was, wow, this is my idol. Like I was always watching on YouTube, like Neymar skills, how to do these skills. And one day I did a commercial with him, and I remember going home back, and I sit down with my mom and my brother. I said to my mom, okay, one day I will play with this guy. I need to play like 100%. I need to play with my idol. And then I remember my brother, he was laughing at me. He said, yeah, Charlie, come on. So yeah, Neymar was the one like, and after obviously he went to PSG, I was really sad for one day when he left Barça to go to PSG. But then 1 year later I joined PSG, and I luckily made this dream come true as well.
They say never meet your heroes. What was it like meeting him? Was he everything you hoped he'd be?
Yeah, I was 12 years old when I meet him for the first time, and you can imagine, like, for me, my eyes were like this, like, wow, I touched him a little bit, So for me at that time, this was the dream, and then, at 16, playing with him was amazing feeling.
Wayne, who was your idol when you were kind of growing up?
Not so much as Neymar, but mine was more Duncan Ferguson. There was a guy who played for Everton. No, that's many years, and he actually went to jail. And I was a young boy who supported Everton, so I used to write to him in jail, and then he'd write back. So I was the same, similar, like 12, something like that. And then 4 years later, I played alongside him. So for me, that was like
letters.
Yeah.
What were the letters saying? What were you?
It was just me saying him, telling him how much I love him, basically.
Week after week.
What was he saying back?
Well, just thanks for it means a lot. And obviously, when you're in jail as well, you take anything in.
Yeah.
So when you actually met him, did you tell him I was the one writing the letters?
Yeah, and then because I was too young to drive as well, so he'd take me home from training. My family were all massive Evertonians, and so Duncan Ferguson would take me home to my mum's house.
Oh wow!
And like my dad's out the window, and stuff like that and stuff. But yeah, so that was surreal. But I think there's so many, and like Ronaldo, Arnan, for me as well. Just watching him play was incredible. He was like my favourite player, really.
You mentioned there your dad, and it sounds like your family as well wanted you to go to Barcelona, and that was a big thing for them. What did they make of this when you got this dream move that you'd wanted?
Yeah, I remember when I was 6, my mom, she came to me one day. She said to me like, "Xavi, we need to go to Barcelona to a friend of mine. She's working there, so we need to be there." And just with 2 days off. But she didn't tell me like Barcelona scouted me. Like Barcelona wanted me to train there and to be there. So I was just thinking like, Mom, I want to be here with my friends in my neighborhood. I don't want to go to Barcelona. She said, come on. And then we went. And then I remember we were in the car. She said, okay, we need to go to the supermarket. So we were driving, and then suddenly I saw the big logo of Barcelona. And I was asking like, what are we doing here? She said like, yeah, you're surprised you can train with Barcelona, they call it, and just enjoy yourself. And then I remember like she bring me to the door, and for me like was switching it up. And yeah, for them was a dream as well.
It must have been incredible.
I was going to say, was it similar for you on your first day at Everton?
Yeah, but obviously I lived like 5 minutes from the training ground, so it wasn't so much of a surprise like that. But we went to the new camp with the school on a visit, and I was about, I think it was my first year in senior school, so I was about 11. And we went outside the training ground, and I don't know if you remember Ruud Hesp,
Okay. Yeah.
goalkeeper, so we're all around his car, and he drove off, and he drove over my foot. We were young. That was like my claim to fame when I was younger. Ruud Hesp drove over my foot, but I can imagine to keep it. I couldn't do that with my kids as a surprise. I'd be too excited.
Yeah,
I'd have to tell them.
I think
So
she was more excited than me, but
yeah, she's done well.
Were you happy she didn't tell you and kept it a surprise?
yeah.
Makes a better story.
Yeah.
Yeah, now, yeah, if I think it like this now, yes.
Yeah, because like at that age, it might be a bit too much pressure. Do you think, or do you think you've learned to deal with that pressure from a young age?
Oof. Yeah, I think at the end, at that time, I wouldn't feel the pressure, I would say, because I have an older brother and I always been like together with him and always playing with his friends. And that was more like kind of pressure to play with the friends of my brother, enjoying that, you know. But yeah, growing up and being on the spotlight at that so young age, that, yeah, obviously the pressure is there, but I think with the years, I took really advantage of it and knew how to deal it. But it was hard, obviously.
Yeah.
You two have got a lot in common, I suppose, in terms of being young superstars, players that kind of made a big name for themselves and had everyone talking about you at such a young age. You've spoken about it before, Wayne. It brings huge pressure, even if you didn't maybe always feel it, because you seem to be able to brush it off.
Yeah, it does, and I think for me, for Xavi now, the difference is social media. And when I was young, I was in the local newspapers, and so it was everyone in Liverpool really knew me. Now so I have it now with my boy who's 16, and he's on social media. He plays for Man United. He's sponsored by Puma, and you know there's hundreds of thousands or millions of people who were watching them when they're that young, and I didn't have that really. But being a young player and going into the first team, especially, is you're getting judged, and rightly or wrongly, you get judged, and that's where you need the people around you, people at the club or your family, to try and keep you in a good place, because we can all get carried away with social media as well. So I think it's really important that them people who are close to you have got your best interest at heart. It's the main thing.
Because isn't it right, you had around 2 million followers before you'd even made your professional debut. So there was a lot of people interested in you before you'd kind of even really made a name for yourself on the pitch.
Yeah, I say what Wayne say. Nowadays it's more like kind of normal. But at my time when I remember I was 12, 13, I had already 2 million followers. I remember at that time was not normal, and social media was coming up. And at that time, I think, maybe the club where I was, or the environment where I was as well something new for them. Like a young guy of 12, 13 years old having 2 million followers as more than one guy of the first team. Like how are we gonna deal with it? How it's gonna be for him in his head? And I think at that time was really hard for everyone, because we were looking into like, okay, how are we gonna deal with it in a positive way? And at the end was more my mom, me, and my brother together, like, okay, how we can manage it in a positive way, even though people maybe see it in a negative way or always judging, and that's the social media part. And I was more there like, okay, I'm here on my own with my family, and we have to protect ourselves, and we have to find a way to do certain things.
At that age, did you get someone to manage your social media for you? Because I can imagine 2 million followers for a grown adult like myself would be too much to deal with. So for a 13-year-old to have access to that many people, did you go, I can't deal with this, and get somebody else manage? Or were you on there reading the comments?
No, it's funny, because at the start I remember of Instagram, for example, my brother had more followers than me, and he was always saying, okay, I have more followers than you. And suddenly I remember one day he came home and he said, Xavi, look at Instagram, you getting followers. And I was like scrolling, and every second more followers and more followers like this.
What was
Like,
happened to
because I
cause that?
played a tournament in Miami
Right,
and
okay.
we won and I was best player. So, and it was on the television and people were seeing and like this it went. And I remember he saying, oh, no, now it's impossible. I never catch you again. And you know, but at that time, I arrived in a certain point that my mom said, okay, you cannot handle this. And even my mom, she said like, I cannot handle this. I don't know how to do social media. I don't know how to do certain things. So at that time, my mom and my brother, they look into certain persons to try to help me. And that happened. I had a team I was 13 years old and I already had my team to try to help me on a positive way to manage it. But at the same time, you have maybe the negative way that is like people maybe seeing like, okay, this 13 years old, what does he think? He has already a social media team and people posting for him. But it was more like my mom trying to protect me and trying to help me in a positive way.
Actually, I didn't have it growing up, social media, so but I'm more on doing your mum's role now with my son.
Yeah.
So and sometimes it's not fair as well because you want. I said this to my boy. I say I want him to be a kid. I want him to enjoy his time being a kid. But then you have to try and restrict it as well because, as you said, it's hard to deal with that many people knowing what you're doing and how you're doing it. So you do have to manage it, definitely.
If I'm honest, what you're saying, like I feel like I've lost a certain way of my youth. You know, like a normal kid from 13 years old, 12 years old can go to the streets playing with his friends. I remember that time I couldn't go on the streets to play because I know kids knew me and they, Xavi, please a picture, Xavi, autograph, and everyone was coming. And for me, it was like more, I just want to play football. You know, I don't want to be influencer or TikToker. You know, I just want to play football, and that is the part that you have to do. I think.
But it's hard for a kid to understand that. You don't understand why and stuff. So that's I suppose that's the price you pay when you go into that world and you're very popular.
So it sounds like that kind of changed for you overnight. What was that like for you not only with social media, but after that tournament in Miami? Did you feel kind of a change around you, not just online?
That was a point that I felt like, okay, it starts now. That's the way I felt it. As well, my brother, I remember coming back from the tournament, he said, okay, now you're gonna have a lot of people watching you and please stay calm if you have a problem. It was not more about the football side, but it was more about the mental side that he was saying to me, Xavi, please, if you have a problem, tell me, call me and say to me, okay, I'm not happy or I'm not, a certain situation that can happen. I remember playing games and me losing, and I remember kids coming into the pitch and Xavi, please a picture. And I was 14, I was saying, no, I lost the game, no. I remember coming home and my brother was saying like, Xavi, these people are coming here just to see you. Try to make a little smile and take a picture. But that was the thing, like at 40 years old, my family's tried to help me. And
you have to grow up quickly, don't you?
Yeah. I felt that way as well. Like, and when I talk with my friends as well, I just say like, I felt like I needed to grow up earlier than an expected age, like 30, 40 years.
There's a young lad at Manchester United who it sounds very similar, JJ Gabriel. And he's I think he's got like millions of followers and he's in the same team as my boy. And so I've watched him grow up and develop. He's a fantastic player. He's got such a bright future. But the same with social media and stuff. So I'd imagine he'd be in the very similar.
But even yourself, you probably have to grow up really quickly as well, because I know there's probably. But there's like rules against it now. But you were probably in a changing room with grown men.
Yeah, you was, and back then you get on with it. Where now, when I was coaching, when we have a 16-year-old playing, in which we had, you obviously go through all the safeguarding and stuff, and you have to sign. Obviously, when you go to an away game, you have to sign as the guardian, basically, and so yeah, it's a big difference now to what it was then.
Yeah, I guess. Would you have wanted to have grown up with the social media, or are you quite glad you didn't in a way? Xavi's laughing.
Yeah, you probably would.
Yeah.
You probably would. Yeah, so obviously I'm on social media now, but I had to get some. Well, I was in the first team. I was playing for Manchester United, and then I had to get someone to manage my social media because I couldn't deal with it then when I was in the first team. So when I was like 24, playing at probably my highest level I played at, and I put some weird
Tweets up.
after a night out or something. I put some mad tweets out. So
Kay loves your old tweets.
yeah, so I had to get someone to manage it and change the passwords, and so yeah.
It must have been so surreal. I'm just taking you back to that period when you were like 12, because all of a sudden you were thrust into the spotlight, and there were other clubs looking at you as well, weren't they? Is it true that Chelsea tried to sign you around them?
Yeah, I remember obviously, they had interest and other clubs as well, but I remember my dream was always Barcelona, and that was my plan at the time. And yeah, obviously it's nice that clubs calls you and try to show you interest, but I think at that time I didn't need to move on.
So you didn't have any big moments like you had your parents being rung by Sir Alex Ferguson, didn't you?
Yeah, but again, I wanted to play for Everton, so there was no way. It's not quite Barcelona, but there was no way I was going to leave before I played for Everton.
What was it like on a football pitch for you from then on then? Because we can talk about the online, but all of a sudden everyone must have been watching you and waiting for you to do something in every game. Did it feel like that?
Yeah, but if I'm quite honest, until now, I'm still the guy, like when I step into the pitch, I just enjoy being on the pitch. Like I'm not thinking what are people gonna say or what people gonna think about me. It's just until now, even playing in front of 80,000 people, like when you're on the pitch, you're so focused that you don't see no one, and that time was that as well, like kind of same.
Is that something that all elite, because you've kind of alluded to that before?
Yeah, that's your home. That's where you're comfortable.
Yeah.
That's where when you go on the pitch, whatever is happening off the pitch, good or bad, that's where you feel at home and you want to be all the time. That's where I used to always think that when you're playing, it was like playing underwater, and you know that the fans are there, you know that there's noise, but it was actually like playing underwater, and you couldn't really take everything in what was getting said. But when you score a goal, it's like you come up for a breath, and then you start hearing everything and stuff. And so on the football pitch that's safest and best place you can be, for sure.
Is that the same for you?
Yeah, it's the same. Safe place, I would say, yeah.
Okay, so you were at Barcelona until you were 16, is that right?
Yeah.
What was that like leaving Barcelona?
Yeah, it was at the time was hard, but I think was the best decision I could take at the time. But yeah, it's life. I needed to move on. I felt at that time I needed something different. I needed to develop at that time on the highest level of the youth teams. And PSG offered me that, and offered me as well like the progress to get into the first team and try to develop as a youth player. But I'm not gonna lie, what was hard, because I'm a Barca fan. I grew up in Barcelona, and maybe at that time people didn't understand it. And what Wayne said before, the social media nowadays is judgment. Even people don't knowing your own story, but it was hard. Yeah.
It must be hard, because I suppose it's the same for you, when you had to leave your boyhood club, you were an Everton fan, and then leaving to know you need to do it for the next stage of your career.
Yeah, I think that's where you have to mentally be stronger and gain the people around you. You have to help. I got death threats. My parents' house was getting spray painted and smashed up. My girlfriend at the time, wife now, her parents' house was getting spray painted in. And then I think more so leaving was difficult, but because I went to Manchester United, and Liverpool and Manchester, there's a big rivalry.
Yeah.
So that made it a lot more difficult. But I was always of a mindset that I don't care. I knew what I wanted and knew what I needed to do to get there. And so I had to stay tough in my mind and say, right, if people want to, and this is my people from my city.
Yeah.
So it was tough, but then I thought, I don't care. I need to you have to be selfish, but in decisions.
It's for me it's the same, like how he's explaining it as well. Like at the end, in your mind, you have to be so hard. And I don't know how old you were there, but I was 16 at that time. But the social media at the time was as well like big, and yeah, they had a big impact, you know. But I remember when I signed after that. Yeah, I sit down and I was looking like all the, you know, all the messages, and it's hard. But at the time, I was like, okay, I don't care. I will make it. I take this decision, and I know where I want to go and turn a vision, and that's it.
What was it like when you got to PSG?
I think that was the start of my professional journey, and I was 16 years old. I was the first 6 months with the under 19. I played youth league, and after that, I get promoted to the first team. So I was 16 already, 16, 17. I was with the big players there.
So you give yourself a challenge there, trying to get
Yeah, but I remember.
Was it Messi there as well?
Yeah, no, Messi was not there. But I remember the first week when I was there, I trained, you know, the first time with the first team, and then I come back home. I say to my mom, I have to go to the gym. I have to, I have to train more, you know.
Because who was there? That's Verratti and
All the guys, only Messi, no, it was Verratti, Thiago Silva, Marquinhos, Mbappé, Neymar.
those training sessions.
Keylor
must have been hard.
Navas, yeah, but
What was that like walking in the first day?
I remember, yeah, you are 16, so for you, yeah, it's just crazy. Like, yeah, training with them every day, seeing how they react to certain things. I think that was one of the best experience I had.
You know, when you're that age, obviously the first time you come in, there's a level of being starstruck by some of these players. But at what point do you switch your mindset and go, oh, actually, these are like my colleagues, and I need to show them that I'm good enough to be here? Because you probably had the same thing where you're coming up against.
If you're there, you're good enough to be there.
Yeah.
And the closest thing I could say to that is walking in the England dressing room. I was 17 and I got in the England national team. And then there was Beckham, Gerrard, Lampard, Rio Ferdinand, all these top players who obviously I'd grown up watching. Now I'm sat in there for my country, and I'm like, wow, this is like insane. But again, I used to back myself and think, right, I'm like we had Mike Lowen as the number 9, and I'm thinking, right, I need to take his place.
Yeah.
So I used to think, how am I going to take his place? And so I'm saying it's that mindset of knowing and thinking he's ahead of me at the minute, but I need to go and take his place. And so yeah, you starstruck a little bit, but then you're after their position.
Was it the same for you?
It's funny because how he explained it in my head was like as well, like the same. You have to, at the end when you're on the pitch, there's no age, there is no, you never play, there's nothing about that. It's just the ball and the guys. And and especially at that level.
Did you ever give someone a tackle or something that they didn't like?
Not that, but I'm a person like when I'm on the pitch, I'm 100%. But there, yes, you have, the big stars is a little bit different. But yeah, at the end, it was just football.
It's obviously you'll have this in a few years' time, but I've had it on the opposite end as well. So I've been playing where I've then seen young players in my team coming through, and I'm thinking, oh, these are coming through. With Rashford, Man United, for instance, and younger players are coming through, and you're just like, oh, you know what's happening
from a place,
In terms of you being there at that point, were there any particular, because it must have been daunting walking into that dressing room, were there anyone in particular that kind of put their arm around you or really helped you during that period settle in?
Yeah, the one that always was there for me was Neymar. Neymar was from the first day, was there from Xavi, if you need something, just hit me up. I went a couple of times to his house, he invited me.
Did he take you to the nightclub?
No, not that time because I was 17. But I went to his house, we eat, training ground, always taking care of me. And all I spoke a lot to him. And at that time, obviously I was 17. I didn't play a lot. But as I say to my friends, I think that's the part where I learned the most of until now, because that time, 17, training with these guys all day and knowing what they're doing, that was the kind of motivation for me as well. Like, okay, I need to do this to get to that point. So I am willing to do this, do this, or I'm not willing. So I remember going back home, going to the gym, being whole day focused. Like, okay, I need to do this. I need to do more than him because otherwise I would not play.
Do you still keep in contact with Neymar?
Yeah. Still contact.
Amazing.
Yeah, still contact.
Just message him every now and again.
That's like an incredible full circle moment, isn't it? From like him being your idol, age 12, to still being in touch now.
Now it's like kind of friends as well. I saw him now in Brazil. I was in Brazil a couple of months ago. And now it's just more like, speaking about life and about the experiences. So that's really nice, yeah.
Another person that we're told has kind of been a big influence on you is Ruud van Nistelrooy, someone that Wayne knows really well as well. How's he helped you and kind of influenced the player and person you are today?
Really important, Ruud van Nistelrooy, for me, because he brought me into, I would say, into the spotlight in the professional career. And I'm really thankful for everything he did for me. And obviously he's been the one, like, he gave me as well the chance to go to the national team and make my dream come true at 19, playing a World Cup with my country.
As someone that knows Ruud, does it come as any surprise to hear that he's been so influential in a young player's career?
No, he was for me as well. Obviously, when I joined Manchester United, to play with him he's such an incredible player and finisher. So I used to, at the time I was young, so I was raw. I weren't as technical as what Ruud was in his finishing and what type of finish. So I used to stay out with him and watch him and asking questions like, why would you finish here? Why would you not do this? And he'd explain why. And so he was really, really important to me as well. And such a top player to play with. And then I actually never seen him going into management.
Why?
No, I didn't. He probably said the same about me. Never seen him go into management. And then I seen him when he come back to Manchester United under, who did he come in?
Ten Hag.
Under Ten Hag. When he come in, I seen him a couple of times at the training ground, sat down. It was nice to catch up again with him. But if there's anyone you want to learn from on finishing, it's Ruud van Nistelrooy. It's incredible.
I had a couple of hours with him in the box finishing. So but everyone knows Ruud van Nistelrooy, and I think crazy player.
Has his mentality changed as a player to a manager from what you saw?
Oh mate, he was ruthless, Ruud. And again, when you say about young players coming through trying to take someone's place, Ruud could see it. So there was me and Cristiano, and then so Ruud went from having David Beckham whipping balls into him to Ronaldo chopping, and then you could see him getting frustrated. He walked off the training pitch a few times, and you could see he's thinking, "Oh, these two are coming." And eventually, obviously, we did, and the team changed. It went more of a transition team, whatever. But so you could see that he's ruthless.
Let's move on to talk a little bit more about you and your kind of mentality and how you prepare, because you've obviously been catapulted at a very young age. You're only 22, and it feels like with everything that has happened to you, it feels like you should be 32, but you've still got so much of your career ahead of you. What is your mentality, would you say, when you go into games, and how's that changed even in at this relatively young age?
I think the mentality I have is, because of my mom at the end. I think I have the same mentality like her. But if I had to describe like one word of my whole mindset and everything, I would say discipline. I never negotiate with myself. And I've learned that from, this kind of players, sorry. I've learned from these players. I know what you have to give up to get to that point. And I think obviously in the career of footballer, a lot of things can happen, positive way, negative way. But I think one thing for sure is the discipline, and that's non-negotiable for me.
Is that similar to you, Wayne, would you say?
I think it's where it's different, and I think you deserve a lot of credit for is having the balls to go and move to France and then obviously back to Holland. That's not easy for a young player. I moved away when I was 31 to the USA, and that was tough. So even as I've had the best part of my career, to move when you're 31, and I struggled. So to do it, so many times, I still now only 22. It's deserve a lot of credit for that, and taking the languages in, the culture and stuff. That's not easy to do.
Yeah, because you travel somewhere where they speak English.
Yeah, so I went 30 minutes down the road to Manchester from Liverpool. So for me, that was easy. I still had all my family around, and I could just drive there. It'd take me 30, 40 minutes to get there. So for me, I think having that mindset to be able to do that and go and prove to people, it's a real strong thing to have there.
What about in the States? What was the biggest challenge there?
No noodles that you like.
The food was terrible. I didn't like it over there. But the challenge there was my youngest boy was 3 months old, and then obviously, so we went, me, Kylian, and 4 kids. And that was tough for us. It was the first time we'd been away from our family, so we struggled. It was tough.
What's been your biggest challenge coming to England?
Yeah, obviously, you want to perform always, and you want to be at the highest level always. Until now, everything went really fast with me, and everything went really good. And now, for the first time, it's like a little bit challenging. But yeah, I would say the team, I adapted really good with the team, the group, really nice group, the club as well. But yeah, obviously this is part of football. It's part of life, Not every time things are gonna wait this way. You're gonna have sometimes it's gonna be like this, and I think waking up every day and try to say to yourself, okay, you need to stand up, and today's a new day, new journey. So like this, I look at it now.
How's it been kind of coping with coming here? You said there, it's been quite challenging. How have you found that in general coming here, because you've had such a rapid ascent?
Yeah, what I said, I moved on several times, and every time was really good, and every time was that fast. And now for the first time, it's like, okay, it's a little bit challenging, but I would say I enjoy it as well. Obviously, I want to perform, but I need to deal with this new situation, and I need to know, okay, the day when everything goes good and another time, then I can remember okay, this is the challenge you had, and embrace it, so.
You have lived in so many different countries, as we've spoken about. Why did you want to come to England? And has it always been on your radar and wish list to come and play here?
Yeah, this playing in the Premier League for me has always been an objective. And playing in the best league in the world, to prove that to myself, that was the motivation I always had.
You'd know it better than most. We all say over here, I think it's the best league in the world, and a lot of people do say it. But as someone that's played in lots of different leagues, is it the best?
Yeah. With no disrespect to other leagues, but here you have everything. Technical players, physical players, tactical coaches that every game change things. And you can see that. And by far what I've seen until now is every team have 4 or 5 players that have really good qualities. And that I've seen that, and I think that's the difference maybe with other countries.
Were there any opposition players that you played when you came to England and you were like, oof?
The one that surprised me was I guess Everton. I knew him because of the youth teams. He played in Manchester United.
James Garner,
yeah.
He's from Liverpool as well, wasn't he?
No. No, he's from the Wirral.
Oh, okay.
They don't.
He's just outside of Liverpool.
Yeah.
I knew he's older than me, but I knew him. But now when I played against him, I felt like, okay, technical with the ball. I think he's really, really good. Really.
Yeah, I tried to sign him when I was coach at Derby County. And then he signed for our rival team, Nottingham Forest. I tried to get him on loan. But he's been playing right back as well.
Yeah.
But more coming inside, right?
Yeah, but he's a good player.
Wayne also used to think he was the best player in every position.
That's good.
Yeah. Do you feel the same? Would you be any other position on the pitch, or are you just happy where you are?
Yeah, I think that's the mentality you have. So you want to be the best always in the position you want to play.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
You have to believe that you're the best player. And what I liked before, what you said about, this is probably your biggest challenge at the minute. You're going to have so many of them challenges, and you've got to, if you have that consistency of doing what you know you're doing right and how you're doing it, you'll always be and come back. That's really important, having the consistency, how you train, how you prepare for games, everything. Because sometimes, and I've done it in the past where you maybe change something, what you're doing in your preparation for the game, and but actually the best thing to do is just stay consistent with your preparation and what you're doing, and then what do you say, the cream always rises.
I just quickly wanted to ask you about Spurs at the moment. Why was Spurs the right club for you? Because you've obviously played at some of the biggest clubs in the world. You said you wanted to come to the Premier League. I'm just intrigued about the project here at Spurs, obviously new manager as well.
Yeah, at the end, the decision that I took with my family together was, Spurs. Obviously, the project that is coming up, I think, is quite exciting with a lot of good young players that we have in the squad. That's what got me the most excited of. I want to win titles this year. So I want to compete for everything, and I think that this is the right decision for me at the time.
And a very important question on end on your hair. One comment on Instagram, Wayne's rolling his eyes at me. I think it got over 46,000 comments or something when you changed your hair during the international break.
Yeah.
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
It's caused shockwaves on social media.
Yeah, because this is the original haircut.
I was going to say it's the original. Was there any thinking behind it, or just fancy to change?
No, it's because my mom, she called me. She said, "Xavi, okay, now it's time to go back to the original haircut." And she loves curls, you know. But this last years, I was doing braids and I was doing other things, you know. And I felt like, okay, maybe now I just keep it like this, simple, and we will see what happens.
It's simple.
It'd be nice to have them options.
That's why you started rolling your eyes at me. 2 million followers and still listens to what he's got way more than 2 million followers now. And you still listen to what your mum says. I love that.
Yeah, she's the one for me. So
she's the boss.
Yeah, she's the boss. She's still the boss, so we have to listen to her.
Xavi, thank you so much for coming on. As Wayne said, it's been brilliant, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Thank you.
But the best of luck for the rest of the season and beyond. Looking forward to seeing what you get up to at Spurs. A reminder, the Wayne Rooney Show is available on Mondays and Fridays. You can listen to us on BBC Sounds or watch us on the BBC iPlayer or YouTube.